Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Hey there, friends. How's it going? I hope you've recovered from yet another thrilling Formula One night. Did you manage to catch the qualifying session live, or did you have to settle for the highlights on our channel? Either way, you're probably already aware that Brazilian driver Gabriel Bortoleto delivered an outstanding performance during qualifying. Not only did he outperform his teammate, Nico Hülkenberg, but he also managed to secure a spot in Q2 with the Sauber car, a feat that no one saw coming. After all, just last year, this car was considered the worst on the grid. So, tell me, were you surprised by Bortoleto's performance, or did you already believe he had the potential to pull off something like this? During Q2, Bortoleto took his time before hitting the track, likely because his team was making final adjustments to his car with an eye on Sunday's race. Unlike the sessions so far, the race is expected to take place in rainy conditions, so any fine-tuning the team can manage could translate into a few extra positions on the grid. However, when Bortoleto finally went out, he made a critical error during his fast lap. He lost control of the car in one of the turns, ruining his lap time. As a result, he chose not to attempt another fast lap and returned to the garage. In post-qualifying interviews, Bortoleto admitted that he pushed too hard during that attempt, dreaming of a miracle lap that could have secured him a spot in Q3. He acknowledged that he exceeded the car's limits, leading to the spin in Turn 4. Despite the mistake, he described it as a calculated risk. He knew the car didn't have the pace to reach Q3, but he believed that a once-in-a-lifetime perfect lap, the kind that happens maybe once every 5 years, could have made the difference, especially given how close the times were at that stage. What comforts him, though, is seeing that even the most experienced drivers, including world champions, made similar mistakes during qualifying. Spins and errors are part of the game when drivers are pushing their cars to the absolute limit, chasing those crucial milliseconds that can make or break a lap. Of course, Bortoleto was also asked about the criticism he received earlier in the week from Helmut Marko, the Red Bull advisor, who labeled him as a B-level driver, lacking the raw speed to achieve significant results. Now, with Bortoleto having outperformed Red Bull's Liam Lawson in qualifying, the Brazilian driver responded with confidence. He hopes Marko will take a closer look at his lap times and reconsider his opinion. Bortoleto made it clear that criticism, whether from Marko or anyone else, won't affect his approach or determination. His focus remains on proving his worth on the track. Looking ahead to Sunday's race, Bortoleto expressed excitement, especially with rain in the forecast. Wet conditions are his specialty, and he thrives in the unpredictability they bring. Rain tends to level the playing field, creating opportunities for surprises and shaking up the usual order. Bortoleto is confident that he'll have fun and make the most of the situation if the rain does indeed fall. He also shared some insights into the current state of his car, noting that while it has improved since preseason testing, it's still not performing at 100%. The team is working hard to address the issues and hopes to introduce some upgrades for the upcoming race in China. So, there you have it. Bortoleto is feeling optimistic about his performance and the potential for a rain-soaked race. But what about you? Are you as excited as he is about this promising start to the season? What are your expectations for the Brazilian driver in Sunday's race? Let us know your thoughts. Let's take a closer look at Ferrari's performance, which has been one of the standout stories of the first 2 free practice sessions on Friday. But before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any updates from this exciting race weekend. If you enjoy straightforward, no-nonsense content like this, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps support our work. Now let's get into it. From the very beginning of Friday's free practice sessions in Australia, Ferrari has been one of the most impressive teams in terms of performance. The SF25 seemed to adapt exceptionally well to the Albert Park circuit, excelling in both tight, technical sections and high-speed corners. This strong and consistent performance comes as a bit of a surprise, especially considering the issues the team faced during preseason testing. Back then, it was clear that Ferrari had a fast car, but it was also plagued by several mechanical problems, largely due to some significant changes made for this season. One of the most notable adjustments was the switch to a pushrod front suspension, which caused some imbalance in the car, particularly affecting the rear. Drivers Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton had been vocal about their struggles in medium and high-speed corners, but those issues seem to have been resolved, at least for now. The team worked tirelessly last week in the simulator, with both Hamilton and Leclerc participating in sessions to fine-tune the car's setup. They experimented with different adjustments, leveraging data collected during the 3 days of preseason testing. The result? A car that now generates a solid amount of downforce and demonstrates excellent grip in both slow and fast sections of the track. Interestingly, Ferrari's strongest sectors are the ones with slower corners, such as Sector 1 and Sector 3, where they gain most of their lap time. However, on the long straights, the car hasn't been as dominant, which could be a factor to watch as the weekend progresses. Another intriguing detail is that Ferrari reportedly used a less aggressive engine mapping during free practice 1 and 2. This is a strategy they employed last season as well, not only to mask their true performance, but also to avoid putting excessive strain on their engines, which could lead to unnecessary penalties later in the season. Despite this conservative approach, Ferrari's lap times, especially in race simulation, were very close to McLaren's, even surpassing them at certain points. This has raised expectations for both Saturday's qualifying session and Sunday's race. Ferrari's team principal, Frederic Vasseur, has been cautious in his comments, emphasizing that there's still a long way to go before they can consider themselves truly competitive. He warned against drawing any definitive conclusions about their performance or that of their rivals, especially given the unpredictable weather forecast for the weekend. Qualifying is expected to take place under extreme heat, while rain is predicted for race day on Sunday. These contrasting conditions could shake things up significantly, and teams that manage to adapt their setups effectively could gain a crucial advantage. So what does all this mean for Ferrari's chances this weekend? Could they be in the mix for pole position or even a race win? Or will McLaren remain the dominant force? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Are you optimistic about Ferrari's prospects? Or do you think they still have work to do before they can challenge for the top spots? Let us know your predictions for qualifying and the race. The first qualifying session of the 2025 Formula One season took place in the early hours of Saturday at the Albert Park circuit, setting the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. This session kicked off with an unprecedented level of competition, as 4 or even 5 teams battled for the top spots, showcasing a level of balance and unpredictability that hasn't been seen in Formula One for years. If you want to stay updated on everything happening in what promises to be an epic season, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We post daily videos packed with insights and straight-to-the-point analysis. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the like button to support our work here at GPM Casa. Let me know in the comments, did you manage to watch the qualifying session live? Or are you catching up with this recap? What time are you tuning in? Throughout the 3 free practice sessions this weekend, it became clear that the field was incredibly tight. At times, McLaren seemed to have the edge, while Ferrari also showed strong pace. Red Bull and Mercedes were slightly behind, but remained in the mix, ready to capitalize on any opportunity to improve their positions. Williams emerged as one of the biggest surprises, with their car performing exceptionally well in qualifying trim. Both Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon consistently posted times close to the leaders, proving that Williams could be a dark horse this season. Another standout was Sauber, the team of Brazilian rookie Gabriel Bortolito, which delivered a much stronger performance than expected. Given that Sauber was the slowest team on the grid last year, their progress is a testament to the hard work done during the off-season. With so many factors at play, let's dive into the action, starting with Q1. This 18-minute session eliminates the 5 slowest drivers, and as soon as the clock started, the pit lane turned into a traffic jam. Every team wanted to make the most of the early minutes to secure a competitive lap time, as the margins were razor thin. Any mistake could mean losing several positions on the grid. Early on, Oliver Behrman's car seemed to have gearbox issues, forcing him to abort his first attempt and return to the garage for further checks. Meanwhile, Lando Norris set the initial pace, with Max Verstappen just 1/100th of a second behind and Oscar Piastri in third. Gabriel Bortolito, making his Formula One debut, impressed by securing 8th place, just 7/10 off the leader's time. However, as the session progressed, Fernando Alonso's strong lap was compromised by track debris in Sector 3, costing him valuable time. In the final minutes, All cars except Behrman's returned to the track for one last attempt. Norris retained the top spot, followed by George Russell and Verstappen. The biggest surprise of Q1 was Bortolito advancing to Q2, finishing 15th and eliminating drivers like Kimi Antonelli, Nico Hülkenberg, and Liam Lawson. Did you expect Bortolito to make it to Q2 in his debut? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to Q2, a 15-minute session that again eliminates the 5 slowest drivers. Verstappen and Charles Leclerc were the first to hit the track, while Bortolito stayed in the garage, saving tires and making adjustments. Piastri initially led the timesheets, with Norris and Verstappen close behind. Bortolito's first flying lap wasn't strong enough, leaving him in 13th place. As the session neared its end, Lewis Hamilton caused a brief yellow flag by spinning his Ferrari, disrupting several drivers' laps. Bortolito opted not to attempt another run, settling for 15th place, a remarkable achievement for a rookie. Norris topped the session, with Piastri and Verstappen rounding out the top 3. Eliminated in Q2 were Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan, and Bortolito. Finally, Q3 determined the top 10 grid positions. All drivers except Yuki Tsunoda immediately took to the track, with Verstappen setting the early pace ahead of Russell and Leclerc. Norris, who had a lap time deleted for exceeding track limits, was initially in 10th. In the final runs, Norris delivered a stunning lap to claim pole position, with Piastri securing 2nd and Verstappen 3rd. The top 10 was completed by Russell, Tsunoda, Albon, Leclerc, Hamilton, Pierre Gasly, and Sainz. So, there you have it. The grid for the Australian Grand Prix is set, and it promises to be an exciting race. Did you expect these results? What are your predictions for tomorrow's race? Do you think we'll see more surprises, or will the usual contenders dominate? Share your thoughts in the comments below.